I'm Jerry Whalen. Most forest fires are set accidentally, but there's a small town in northern New Brunswick where forest fires are no accident. They're set deliberately. Forest rangers have been trying hard to catch those people, but they're not having much luck.
Every year, the province of New Brunswick spends millions of dollars fighting hundreds of forest fires.
It's coming up through here, so I'm going to go back. I'll get the next flight and see if I can find out where that is, because it's coming right this way, too.
While the fire problem is serious, it's made worse by the fact that about 10% of all forest fires are deliberately set. It's a long-standing problem that relates to rural poverty in some New Brunswick communities, where people think of a forest fire as a make-work project. The provincial government says deliberately set fires are common around the community of Lorne, about an hour's drive from Bathurst. Lorne is a small community surrounded by forests. Depending on where you draw the boundary, about 1,000 people live here. Years ago, there was a thriving lumber industry in Lorne. Nowadays, there isn't much going on. Lorne has a reputation as a rough and tough place, but things were pretty quiet when we arrived.
You walk the streets and what do you see? You see nothing. There's not even a canteen or place to go to, man. It's like dead.
Rod Levine just moved back here after working in Toronto for 3 years. Spends most of his time just hanging around.
If it was in the fall, well, then I could go hunting, you know. That's about it. Hunting or fishing, that's about the main attraction down here. And it's the drink, and I don't drink no more.
Some people have good paying jobs at a local lead mine and smelter, but they're the lucky ones. About half the residents are out of work. Glenn LaPointe is still looking for his first full-time job.
Me, I'm going to be 24 years old in October, and I never had the chance once to go on Iron Blank. Not once. So that's how bad it is. No. You can ask any young fella around here, and they'll tell you the same thing.
Well, there's no work for nobody. We all gotta go to Toronto, you gotta go to Ferguson, somewhere to get find. There's no projects or nothing going on. The girl around here can't get no work.
Ellen Hickey lives with her mother. She says there isn't much recreation in Lorne, just a weekly bingo game.
35. Benny, bring down in here for a minute. Bill!
When you ask about forest fires around Lorne, the answers vary. But some people say forest fires create a lot of temporary jobs. Instead of fires, you got a quick buck.
There's no work. There's no work. People make fires. Always do, every year.
Have any this year, don't you?
No, but there'll soon be some, though.
Not trying to say anything. But
Not trying anything. There's always some every year.
Called a coincidence. 3 hours later, someone set a fire about 2 miles from Lorne. Fire ripped through 7 acres of woods before it was brought under control around noontime the next day. A day's work for 20 men. Forest rangers say it wasn't the first fire set deliberately this year, and probably won't be the last. In a typical summer, there will be almost a dozen fires like this around Lorne.
Getaway town.
This fire was easily controlled because the woods were pretty wet. Some of the fires take weeks to put out.
Just people that need work, and there's no work, there's nothing, so they kind of set them out. It's kind of a cool way of getting a job, you know, but to each his own. That's how they say, live and let live.
No, I wouldn't do it. You know, I mean, I want to work just as well as anybody else. But I wouldn't go and set a fire just to get a day's work. There's no sense into it. Because you're destroying wood, you're destroying wildlife. You know? When you sit down and think about it, there's no sense in it.
It's pretty bad in the winter, it's not in the other. Today, if you have a wife and you have a kid and you got to feed them and you got no way of making no money and you got no money in your pocket, what are you going to do? You're going to go out and rob somebody? No. You're going to go steal something? No, you're not supposed to do that. Well, if you set a fire, you might give 10 people, 10 families some food, you know? So, it's up to them. I'm not a fireboat, so.
The area around Lorne is crisscrossed by hundreds of woods roads. And over the past 30 years, there have been hundreds of fires. But for the most part, you don't see any blackened areas because the vegetation grows back so quickly. Paul Tadlock is the local forest ranger, a 20-year veteran.
So you kind of get discouraged. Usually, when you have one fire, you usually have a raft of them, and it's just get one out, and the first thing there's another one, and you get kind of discouraged about it. There's not many jobs, and some of the people that set these fires actually work on them. So, I mean, when the fire starts, you need manpower, and until you get the fire under control, then you have to start hearing these rumors. Well, this fellow, he set the fire, and you guys had him working on it. So, I mean, it's hard to say who set it, but you always get the backlash after. You know, as long as you keep hiring them, they're going to keep setting. So, it's tough.
Tadlock showed us an area of cutover about a mile from Lorne where a fire had been set just 2 weeks earlier.
This fire here was roughly 7 to 8 acres. And at the start, I believe there was 36 men on it for about the first 2 days. The first day, these people would have got 10 hours of work. Second, they would have got probably 12, 13 hours. And you multiply that by 525, and it mounts up.
The forest rangers say it's only a handful of people who've been setting the fires, but it isn't easy to catch them.
On Dave. Kick her in the ear, you know. And boys are all full of talk when there's no cameras on them. When the camera gets there, they don't want to talk.
Michael Mullally seems to know a lot about forest fires. He's worked on quite a few, made some good money as a firefighter. He's also been suspected of setting some of those fires.
Oh, well, I used to be in the woods every day. I go in the woods. If I come out of the woods, anything happen, they blame me. I could be in Russia and a fire start, they blame me anyway. They picked me up once. Like, they had me down there 4 or 5 hours talking to me. They didn't make any heads. I just sat there and never said a boo to them. You don't have to talk to them if you don't want to. There's no law in the book says you have to talk to this certain guy. You don't have to say a boo.
But you didn't set any fire?
Nope. I got blamed for lots, but I never saw him. If I'd ever set one, it'd probably be underneath the police station. I hate them guys. We hear a lot of rumors of people that have set them, and we do our best to check it out and see if we can find where the fire has been set and see if we can pick up any evidence whatsoever. We have used in the past our dog master, to come in and see if he could find any clues, but it's hard to find any evidence. We hear through the grapevine now they're using these mosquito rings and put into a brush pile and gives the person that does this time to get back away from the area so they're not caught. And with these mosquito rings, it takes a few hours for it to really ignite into a brush pile. And the same with a candle.
Well, let's go to the bootlegger. Those are the times for so much. Right on. The fair weather, the fair weather.
Don't get too far back.
There's a standing reward of $500 for information about the fires, but there are no takers. $500 just isn't worth it.
In order for them to get it, they got to be in court. It still wouldn't do them any good. If they end up in the hospital for 6 months after, it's not giving them any good to spend $500. Got to eat chicken noodle soup with a straw. It's not too funny.
So what you're suggesting is that if they testified against you, they would be beaten up?
Kind of. I kicked around a few guys in my life. Ever opening their mouth at the wrong time. It's always worth it. I was in court a couple of times over. Got a couple of fines for $200. It slows you down after a while. You start running out of face. But the things that's all they get money to pay for your fines. And it's not too much fun in jail during the summertime. You suffocate in that place. It's just like a furnace box. Some places where we had a lot of fires in a 2-week period, we had staked out and watched certain individuals. And you just sit there till from dark all day till dark at night. And then you get back out again and go out the next day. And your stakeout sometimes will last 3, 4, 5 days.
Now, what's your luck been so far?
Right there now, it's 0. We have nothing exist. Just a handful that causes all of this. So I'll say like the fella, someday the day will come. You know, they get careless. They're going to be mad.
The forest fires have been going on for decades, but surprisingly, none of them have ever reached the village of Lorne. However, as a matter of policy, most New Brunswick insurance companies refuse to sell any fire insurance to homeowners in this area. That policy had serious consequences for Rita Hickey, a widow. A year ago, her house trailer was destroyed by fire, and she wasn't insured.
And I had insurance on my trailer for 9 years. And then the year before it burnt, they canceled the insurance. They said they were no longer giving insurance in Lorne because there were too many fires in Lorne, and they would not give no insurance in Lorne. So they canceled my insurance, and then in February, my trailer burnt, and I didn't have no insurance or nothing. I lost everything I had.
And reported to the company, yes?
The insurance company couldn't locate any files on Mrs. Hickey, but the company conceded that many policies have been canceled, not so much because of the forest fires, but because some people had torched their houses in years past.
There are people that did torch their places without not necessarily pointing anybody out, but yes.
Roger Rail is the owner of the insurance company based in Dalhousie.
It is quite a complex problem. But over the years, the insurance companies have lost thousands and thousands of dollars.
Everything we had, we lost it. And I think it's not right. It's not right because two houses burnt. They shouldn't punish all the people in Lorne because they burnt the house. I know there's been fire in her. The house in Lorne burnt. It's been burned on purpose. I know that. I can't prove it, but I know it. But we can't punish everybody for what one does.
There are areas where you can be selective, but it has proven in the past years that this areas like this, we weren't able to be selective.
A lot of people complained to the New Brunswick government about the insurance boycott, but the government said it just couldn't force the companies to insure homeowners. We've been told that some of the fires around Lorne are being set as a kind of make-work project so people can get a few days' pay putting them out. But there's another reason. Fires are being used as a weapon in a long-running guerrilla war between local people and the forest rangers. This area is surrounded by Crown land. and a lot of the men are cutting wood illegally. Some of it is hardwood to heat their own homes, but these men are also cutting softwood and selling it commercially. The government says it's trespass and theft. Others say it's a matter of survival.
The only thing there is to do is work in the woods. And then the wardens are on your back 24 hours a day trying to get you out of the woods. You're not allowed to cut there. You got to go up and steal it, and the only way you can make a living around here. Pretty bad.
And then the rangers test them, and they give them warning. The second time they catch them, they'll take everything they have, including your farm, your truck, and everything you own.
That's another story we don't want to get into. Salt cutting, because there's wardens and all this shit, and they just love to come take our stuff. I mean, that's top shouldn't be brought up. As far as I'm concerned, you know. That's people that's willing. That's people that's willing to go and work a little bit for themselves. They have nothing else. They go there and they cut a couple of cords of wood. They might have an old truck and this and that, and people are barely getting by. You know. And they're willing to go and work. People's willing to work. There's no work. That's the problem. You know. I had to figure out.
The pulpwood is sold on a thriving black market. Ironically, it ends up being sold back to the same paper company that leases the Crown land. Matilda Godin has a lot of sympathy for the illegal woodcutters.
I did hear people saying, well, if there's no work and they can't cut the pulp, that they will be fired. I mean that the land belongs to the government up there. Or some of it might be leased to the New Brunswick paper company in Dalhousie, the IT company we call. And if they don't want to allow the people to go there and cut snow pulp, well, what are they keeping it for? For somebody else? So? Sometimes I think a lot of those fires were started deliberately because they didn't want to leave them cut.
It seems to be like that. It seems to show that this is what happens. That we retaliate one way by seizing wood and equipment, and then retaliation seems to come back at us through a forest fire.
We can't cut the wood, so to hell with it. We're going to burn the goddamn thing. That's what the people are going to do. You know?
And so this is a protection for them. See, you want to smuggle wood, and finally the authorities, well, they fear to stop them because if we have a dry season, they're going to set fire. The same people. Okay, but I think that of course we cannot approve of that, and the people don't like that.
Fernand Albert is the parish priest. He's lived in Lorne for 15 years. There's no mayor in Lorne, no municipal officials of any kind. So Father Albert is kind of an unofficial mayor. He runs the church. He also does his best to get funding for a few make-work projects. Father Albert says the real problem is poverty, and he thinks the government should set aside special woodlots for local people who are now cutting wood illegally.
You see, these people are born in a place like Lorne, it's in the woods, you see. And they don't have, most of the people now, they don't even have a few acres of land. They don't have a woodlot. If policies have been set differently in the past, these people maybe could have their woodlot. They would cut on their woodlot. This is a very poor spot in the country, in New Brunswick. So they have no opportunities. It's very complicated. How to solve the problem, after I don't know. But I know that the people around here are poor, are weak, rather, politically. This is different from other places. People are organized and are kind of strong politically. So much so when they have a problem, they are ready, they are organized to protest and so on. These people here are not organized, and so they are weak politically.
For most of this past summer, the authorities turned a blind eye to illegal cutting, but in late August, the government decided to crack down. The raid, involving more than 50 forest rangers and police officers, caught the pulp cutters completely by surprise. The The result was a violent rock-throwing confrontation in the woods near Lorne. The government scored a tactical victory by seizing a timberjack worth many thousands of dollars, along with almost a dozen trucks that were being used to carry out the pulpwood. Most of these vehicles had no license plates or any registration. 28 people were charged with trespassing. They were incensed, and some of the pulp cutters accused the government of using excessive force. John Corrier said one of the wardens pointed a gun at his head.
4 strangers come in with revolvers. One had attacked me with a gun. He thought my chains was a weapon. So when he come up to me with the gun, I shut off my chainsaw. He never read me my rights or nothing.
Tempers were short, and some of the pulp cutters threatened there would be a lot of forest fires if the trucks weren't released right away. With a potential crisis on their hands, the provincial government agreed to release the trucks and came up with an instant make-work program for 35 men doing silviculture work. In the end, all 28 men pleaded guilty to trespass, and each paid a fine of $250. Right now, the situation is quiet, but no one is really expecting an end to the forest fires until there is a permanent solution to the poverty around Lorne. This summer, there were 8 fires deliberately set. And believe it or not, that's considered a good year.
Well, it's hard to understand, I suppose, for somebody that's not from around here. But it is, I guess, we've accepted more or less as a way of life. It's just an old saying around here that there were so many fires and it cost so much, they just called it the $1 Million Mile over the past years.